Hello crafty friends, this is the Paper Chef here. Welcome to part 6 of my Butterfly Brilliance Bootcamp series. In today's video, I'm going to share some more techniques with you. You're going to learn how to emboss this vellum and color it with the blending brushes. We're also going to just use blending brushes in general. I'll give you some uses for the blending brushes. I use them to color this pale papaya butterfly. I use them to ink around the edges of this sentiment. I use them to ink up this embossing folder, but I just want to show you some other uses of them as well, such as using them with decorative masks or just using them to color backgrounds in general. Okay, you have this vellum in your kit, so you're going to take out your piece of vellum cardstock. And now I'm just going to go over what you did in the last part of the series, and then we're going to get started on this part. So I like to, since this is part 6, I like to either go over, various projects, or at least the last video, for those that are new to this series. All right, so in the last video, I showed how to use the adhesive sheets and the glimmer paper. Adhesive sheets, we have these really nice rainbow glimmer cardstock, and then we have adhesive sheets, which we can attach to the back of the rainbow glimmer cardstock, and you turn your cardstock, the rainbow glimmer, into stickers. And that's what I did here, and I showed you how to use the technique, and we had a hard time with this mini machine, but I didn't give up, and we got the butterflies cut. But it was a very thick sandwich, so I don't recommend using the mini machine for this. Use the bigger machine. I just don't have that with me, right? So it's just what I had, and we made it happen. And I always leave my other videos up there, even with mistakes in them, because that's actually what happens in real life crafting. We can't get through things without making mistakes, and we learn from our mistakes. And now I didn't actually adjust the sandwich. I'm just using a different machine. And I did order the thin die adapter plate, because I was trying to use a big shot machine I had, but I couldn't use that either. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The cards came out nice in the end, because we got all these cut with the mini machine, because all of the butterflies in the kit, in the Butterfly Brilliance bundle, which you can still get, it's in the annual catalog, and I also have kits, the deluxe kits that come with the bundle. All of those butterflies fit in the mini machine. By the way, that's one of the things that comes in the deluxe bundle. We're not even using the stamp today. We're using the dies. Okay, so these are just cards as an example of what you could do with adhesive sheets. Another thing I showed you during part 5 was how to create tag treats, because I always like to show you more than one project. So today we're making a card, but I'm also going to show you more than one technique. So here's one. This is one my niece actually made. She made the one with the hello on it. And then I made this one with you. You're the best. I think I made this one with maybe I didn't make that with you. I had colored this ahead of time using blender pens. One of the techniques you learned in this course is blender pens. That's when you take any of your ink pads and turn them into markers using a blender pen. So today, just so you know what the difference is, you got a blender brush in your kit. Some of you, you all got blender pens in your kit. Some of you got blender brushes. These went on back order. I can't give you these in your kit anymore, I don't think, because they're on back order. These are blending brushes. That's what we're using today. Blender pen. I don't have it handy. I don't think there's one laying here. It's an actual marker. And that's what I use to color that. So then these are ones I did with stickers, and you put chocolates inside, and these are called tag treats. We use the fancy tag topper punch to make these. I used all the stickers from that rainbow glimmer paper, and you have a piece of the rainbow glimmer paper in your deluxe kit. All right, so deluxe kits are only available in the US. So anyway, that's what we did in part 5. And just this is what we've been doing. We've been using the stamp a lot in this series. This is the stamp. I've been using it with the Stamparatus. And there, I just want to show you that. That's where I got this from. That's where I got the butterfly from to put on this one. All right, so now let's go. So you're going to take your vellum. And I haven't had a chance to go through and put a lot of measurements in the description, so I just wrote it down for you. Okay, I had a half a piece of vellum because I needed to share the other piece with something, but you're really supposed to have to make it like the one here in the example, you're going to cut your vellum 5, see, like that, 5.25 inches. So go ahead and cut your vellum by 2.5. Now I was kind of skimping, and the last piece I couldn't make it that big because I was using half a sheet of vellum. I needed the rest for my last couple of kits, and that's all I'm doing after that. Poke a fork in me, I'm done with the kits. I'm moving on to Christmas kits. All right, so there you go. So that's what you need, a piece of 5.25 inches by 2.5 inches. So cut your vellum. And now what we're going to do is we're going to emboss our vellum. And at the same time, I want to teach you about blending brushes. Now the cards we're using, the cards we're making, right? One here, let me just put this I have for another reason. Let's put those down for another reason. This is the card that you already have in your kit. And what I try to do with the kits is make this thing simple for you. I've been using these for just not only butterfly projects, but Christmas cards. And they're not even intended for that at all. This actually comes from a package. And you all got one in your kit. It's called the Hand Pen Memories and More Cards and Envelopes. So that's what we're making a card out of. Hand Pen Memories and More Cards and Envelopes. And in this case, the envelope does actually go with our project really nicely because it's pale papaya, and we're going to have a pale papaya butterfly on there, and it's like nature scene, right? But look what happens when I turn these same kind of cards into Christmas cards. So I've been using those for everything. Let me find one. See? You can take the same Hand Pen Memories and More cards and turn them into Christmas cards. And then, of course, you wouldn't use, in that case, you're not going to use the envelope with it. And I even cut them down to make them smaller. So just giving you ideas. I just wanted to inspire you in this series. That's what I'm trying to do. So what you're going to do now is take your mini machine, and we're not going to crank it through yet. We're going to take our vellum. Let's take the piece that's 5.5. Let's make sure it's the right one. Well, here, I just measured on the card. No, 5.25, sorry, 5.25 wide, because this card is what, 6.25? These are the Memories and More cards. Let's just check this, because this is 6 inches across. So the card is, no, the card's 6 inches across, it's a little over 6 inches, right? And maybe 6.25, that's how long the card is. So when you make this 5.25, right, that's what it is, 5.25, you get a 1/2 inch margin on each side. I kind of made these a while ago, and I can't remember exactly why I did it that way. But I think I tried it in different configurations, and the 1 inch margin worked better. All right, so what you want to do is, at the same time, I embossed a piece that I didn't color just to show you that. Here, just to show you. So you can emboss vellum, and it's pretty awesome as it is. And I'll show you some glimmer vellum too. So this is just what you do when you emboss vellum. You put it through an embossing folder, right? It's fantastic. It transforms your vellum. That was my scrap of vellum. But what would happen if you colored it first? If you colored the embossing folder and then embossed the vellum, then you get this kind of effect, right? And it's even more fantastic. Vellum's fantastic anyway. It's just a great substance for crafting. All right, so what you want to do is you're going to take, these are our sandwich. I'm finding the package. Here we go. Meadow Moments embossing folders. These are great little embossing folders that go with the mini machine. Meadow Moments. And so I'm going to use the one with the butterflies on it. Right? The butterflies are in it. Like that. You want to do it Stampin' Up side up. See that? That's the Stampin' Up side up. Actually, Stampin' Up's on both sides, isn't it? But not the Made in China side. The side that says the logo. So that's the side you want up, because that's the side we're going to put the ink on. And then we're going to get our sandwich ready, because I'm going to have ink all over my hands. We have die cut 1, plate 1, and then you use plate 3 for embossing folders. See, it says use plate 1, that's plate 1, plate 3, and then it says put your embossing folder in hinge first. That's hinge first. We're not using this one, but that's the hinge. We don't need these other plates for now. Now we're going to take our Pool Party ink. Yeah, B's asking me if I'm safe from the storm. We were without power for a couple hours this morning. Actually, I should just say hi to everyone who's here. I was without power a couple hours, and now I have power, and it's raining real bad, but hey, we're safe from the storm. It's just like, I want to craft. I need light. So my niece, what's funny is she's not here right now. She's at the neighbors because they had a generator, and they went over there to play. But what's really funny is my niece, she said, here's all the things we can do without power. She actually wrote a list in her booklet of the things we can do without electricity. How cool is that? She's like, you can still use this machine. She didn't know the name of it, but she goes, can't you still use the machine when we don't have electricity? Can't you still do stamping? Can't we stamp mermaids? Can't we do this? Can't we do that? Oh my gosh, how smart is that, right? She's like just finished kindergarten. She's going into first grade. All right, I'll say hi to you in a minute. See, this is her doing the stars from the mermaid thing. All right. Hope I have some ink left. I didn't even check. So what we're going to do is I'm opening up the Pool Party ink. I'll say hi in a minute because I know I have to kind of get this started. I don't want to lose anybody. I'm going to take the blending brush. Let's see. I have one that I've used Pool Party on. Let's just say it's this one. You can mix. You can use these for different colors because you can tap the ink off in between. But let's just say this one will work. And what I like to do, just so I don't end up inking too much of my embossing folder up, is I like to put some on a stamping block first when I use the blending brushes. It just keeps me from dipping straight into the ink. Can you guys see that? So I'm kind of controlling how much ink goes on my blending brush. So I kind of just do this and kind of get the ink onto my blending brush and maybe tap it off onto the, I'm probably going to get some green in there mixed in. And I tap it off onto the mat a little bit. And then I'm just going to kind of paint I'm just painting my folder. Okay, painting my embossing folder. Not too much. I'm not painting it too much. Actually, I don't need to tap it off because I'm going to spread it around the folder. I'm just going to kind of tap it onto my embossing folder. Here, let's do this. Instead of tapping it in. Okay. Now you could also use what's called a sponge brayer. There we go. It's supposed to look like that. I'm like, what? I think my ink's down. I should have re-inked this before the video. The ink levels have gone down. We've been stamping a lot. Like I didn't have, sometimes in my regular craft room, right, I have like the kid-proof ink, the ink that's not Stampin' Up, or the old Stampin' Up retired ink, right? But all I have to let my niece and nephew use right now is actually my real Stampin' Up stamp pads, my real Stampin' Up ink. Okay, so we'll get more in there later. My point is I'm putting some on the embossing folder. We're going to get more on there. We're going to color it before and after. I just want to show you what it looks like when you put a little bit of ink on it before you run it through the embossing folder. And it should be more inky and dark, but you get the idea. And if you have a sponge brayer, they're retired now, but let me show you what one looks like. This works even better on an embossing folder. We just don't sell these anymore. I don't want to demonstrate something you can't get. I mean, I don't mind demonstrating it, and I'll tell you because maybe you have them. So if you have this, it actually works better for even coverage, a sponge brayer. But right now, all we have is, like all we sell is these blending brushes. And even they got so popular that they're on back order. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm putting I did some ink. I don't think I even did enough ink. But anyway, I'm putting the embossing folder in the bottom. I'm putting that over the top. And now I'm going to run it through. So now we're going to get a little bit of color on it. And then we'll just use the blending brush to color it some more. Because my ink is not very, I'm shutting this only for a minute. My ink is not very thick coverage on there. So we're going to put the sandwich says to put plate. It says use plate 1. That's what the sandwich says. And then it says use the embossing folder hinge first. So hinge first. So you move it back a little. Because that's where the ink is, more back here. Hinge first. Then it says use plate 3. So what I need to do is just open the back of the mini machine, right? There's a back part. You got to make sure the back part's open. Or you'll start cranking and you'll be like, well, I can't. There's like nothing coming out the back. All right, so we're going to crank it through. And it didn't make any cracking noises, but it was a tight fit. And voila, we have our embossed vellum. Oops, well, it didn't get that dark. But you get the idea. We'll show it to you compared to one that's not colored. And I just need to color it a little more with my blending brush. Pretty cool, though. See? So it has a little bit of a tinge to it, but really it's because my ink is kind of dry. My well has run dry. I didn't re-ink before the video. I didn't know how many starfish my niece was stamping. All right, so let's just put a little more ink on here. And so now I'm going to show you another blending brush technique. So after you do it to the embossing folder, which is really cool because it gets into the nooks and crannies, you can just do it now. Tap, tap up in there, and you could do it again. So I'm going to do it again, especially because I need more coverage. And it just kind of does a different effect because like the one I'm doing now is kind of getting in the parts that are raised, kind of getting caught up in there and giving it a lot more contrast. So look at that. Is that cool or what? Turn it around because I'm right-handed. And I'm just going to keep tapping my blending brush. And I'm going to just kind of color my vellum. And we'll use a different color next to vellum. We'll try this again after we do this card. With another color of vellum because I have another embossing folder I haven't tried yet. Oh yes, and that's what I wanted. That was what I was going for, the pool party look. Because the card is pool party. This card here. So to make the card, what you want to do next is you want to get your sentiment. And let's get all this stuff out of the way for a second. We might need to do a butterfly. Yeah, we need to do our butterfly and then our sentiment. So our sentiment and our butterfly. So the butterfly, let's find which one I used. We wanted to use a big one because we can hide. I think it was this one here. So take a piece of pale papaya. Oh, that's vellum. Cardstock. So you need pale papaya cardstock. Let me find a piece of pale papaya that's kind of narrow. You have these in your kit too. You have a whole piece, but you only need a little piece. I'm trying to find a strip of it. Here we go. I need a strip of pale papaya cardstock, and we need to cut our butterfly out. You want to tape that onto the cardstock with the metal die, with a little piece of, like, say, painter's tape or something, if you have it. If not, if that's the only thing in the folder, it's fine. It'll go through. Okay, and for this, to die cut this piece, you want to use the regular sandwich. The regular sandwich is plate 1, right? Plate 1, 2 plate 2s, a one above and one below. The plate 2s, I always use one of the plate 2s for the top and the scratch one for the bottom. Okay, so the scratch one's on the bottom. Okay, there we go. So anyway, in between hurricanes and tropical storms, I'm doing this video. All right, let's just crank it through. I didn't have to tape it because there's only one. Now, if you have more than one, you would tape it. Now, when you die cut these butterflies, send it back through. Send it back through, because it's just less trouble. And if you have a die brush, it'll help you get all the stuff out. So hopefully that worked. With it, easy to get the stuff out. There you go. See? It is easy to get the stuff out. And I'll just dump those over to the other side. You can also use your paper snips, or the pointy end of your paper snips, or the pointy end of your take your pick tool. And there's like no natural light today because it's very gloomy outside. But I have a light shining in a weird way, but there's no natural light. I usually have a natural light behind me. It's just so foggy out. Here we go. So there we go. So that's how you get your, so we need this. Now we need to know where we're putting this because that's where you put the adhesive. So I needed to cut that up first. We'll go back to using it with the blending brush with it. But what we needed to know is we need to put that on there. We're going to blend it, but we need to know sort of where to put the adhesive under it, right? Because when we could put a blob of, like, say, glue, put this on here, we want to hide it. Because when you put adhesive behind vellum, it sticks out, right? Bottom line. So you can put some stuff behind it, like the little dimensionals, as long as you're going to put a butterfly over it. So that's how it's going to go on the card. Pretty cool. So I take, like, if it fits a small dimensional under there, under butterfly, that's fine. And then we can hide that dimensional. Then we can hide the glue under that dimensional. So there we go. So that is going to be, well, we're going to do something to it, but we're not putting it down yet. Okay, so good. We're going to do the blender brush on this guy. Oops, I should have probably kept that on him. That's okay. So take your blending brush, and we're going to color the edges of this guy. So you're still going to use Pool Party. So lay it down, and you're going to do that. It looks like really dark for now, but it's okay because it's going to be over the top of something really light. Okay, I did that last time too. Maybe it wasn't as dark. But see, that's what I want to do is I want to do the edges for dimension. Okay, so that's another use of your blending brush. Let's see if I can't get some better light on there. And that's, so now I'm gonna go ahead and attach it. So now I know where to put then I can put the glue behind it. Okay, because that's there, I can put glue behind there. And that way the vellum will stay onto there. The other place I can put glue is anywhere here. And when I say glue, I can use dimensionals again. I can use this, we can actually just do dimensional right behind it if I want, or we can actually use glue. But I think I can just hide it with another dimensional right behind it. And then we'll put a big dimensional there, because we're going to have it like this whole big thing there, this whole big peace, love, and joy. So we can put a big one there. Okay, now the vellum will sort of sit up, and it'll be nice, kind of popped up, but it'll stay on because it has two dimensionals. And now we will do the little, now of course if you're using glue, you could hide it with glue as well. But you could put the glue behind the sentiments. So now we need a little piece of crafty goodness from, I've already done it, but I'm going to tell you where it came from. I should have already done it. Here we go. We're like a cooking show. We have some things done already. Because I told you in this course, it wasn't dependent on any certain stamp set. This course is not dependent on any certain, it's only dependent on the course. You definitely need, for this course, Butterfly Brilliance Bootcamp, you definitely need the dies and the stamps. Butterfly Brilliance stamp set. You definitely need that because we use this all the time. But the sentiments, like, right, as far as sentiments go, use any sentiments you already have. So let's go ahead and, we always like to do more than one while we're here, right? Do more than one, because we can use them right away. So we're going to take your Misty Moonlight ink, and I'm going to use what's called to get that peace, love, and joy, opening up the Misty Moonlight. And peace, love, and joy is a great sentiment that is good for any card, you know, even if it's not the holiday time. And that's from Inspired Thoughts. So where is the Inspired Thoughts? Oh yeah, I'm prepared. So we're looking around for it. One moment. I have to just look and see where it went. Here it goes. I'm back. It's a cling stamp set. Here we go. Peace, love, and joy. So you want to mount that onto a stamping block. Mount the stamp Peace, Love, and Joy into a stamping block. This is stamping block B. We're going to tap, tap, tap. And let's do some scraps here. We'll just use this piece of scrap paper. I was going to use that when I couldn't find my pale papaya, but then I found my pale papaya to make my butterfly. Oh, look at that crisp stamp. It's very crisp. See, nobody got into this ink. Just me. Look how crisp that is. So we'll do another one. And I probably should have done the inking around the edges before I stamped the sentiment, or you should let the sentiment dry. So instead of maybe, I don't want to get my fingers on it to smudge it, but we're going to ink around the edges now. And we're just putting a little pool party around the edges. And that's, again, another technique for the blending brush is just sort of, see, I would normally hold it up in the air and do that, right? But if I do that right now, I hold it up in the air. That's how I would usually ink around the edges. I'm going to smear the Peace, Love, and Joy. And it's so crisp that I'm so happy with it that I'm just going to keep my silicone mat and do it on the silicone mat. So there you have it. So that's the Peace, Love, and Joy. And that's how to use your blending brush, ink around the edges. And now we will pop that up with another. So look, here's one that's not done. So you can just see how it adds dimension to it. And we'll do the next one too. I think I did more on the example. See, there's just more dimension. All right, we're going to put a dimensional behind it. I'm just not pushing it. I'm putting a dimensional right where the other dimensional is. I don't want to push it and do too much inking around the edges because I'll smear it. I mean, it's really juicy. My stamp right now is really juicy. We need some bling, of course. We're not done until we do the bling. Oops, I should have tapped it onto the mat. That's okay. So when you ink it a lot around the edges, then just go for it. Just go for it all the way. See, if I get a little bit of blob on there, then go ahead and ink it all the way. In other words, go get more ink. You know, if you do it lightly, that's fine. But if you start doing it dark, just do the whole thing dark. It's no big deal, right? You can do the whole thing dark. But what I'm trying to say is that I usually get the little blobs off by tapping on the mat, and I hadn't done that. So when you get the little blobs of ink off first, you don't end up with such a stark outline. Okay, that's more like it. I mean, that's more like it as far as you've been able to see what I'm doing. It's not really the way I would have done it, like that dark, but it's like you can see how cool it is compared to not doing it, how much dimension you give something. Too much inking around the edges for my liking. Right? It's like, oh my goodness, now I accidentally went into the inside. Now we just go with it. Or you know what? We could put a butterfly there. I think I'll put I'll put an extra butterfly on that one. Because I like the way it all is right there, but I could put a butterfly kind of hanging over the side there. Okay, so there you go, though. But that's the technique. It's all about technique, right? It's not about, there's no right or wrong way. It's just about the technique I'm teaching you. So what I'm going to do now is take some bling. You need some bling. And I'm going to use opal rounds. I'm going to put them on my butterfly. Opal rounds are just a great little, one of our great little embellishments. They look like pearls. They got little fun stuff inside them, little sparklies inside them. So they're just great to put on everything. So I put a couple on the butterflies, and then I put a few on the card. And let me see where I put them on the card. Just kind of see. So you see how I kind of just scatter them around. So big one, small one, big one. Big one, small one, big one. So we'll do something similar to this card, because that's what this lesson's about. But I don't want to get that ink on the bottom of my card, right? Got to move that over. We still have one more embossing folder to try. So we're going to go over here and do a small one. It's when in the bootcamp series, I like to show you every step. Notice how I'm putting it on the flat parts of the embossing folder. I'm not trying to put it over the butterfly. See how the butterflies are facing up too? I should have mentioned when you use this embossing folder, you want to make sure the butterflies are up, facing up. And, you know, don't put your little bling on top of one of the embellishments, the raised embellum. That's not even a word. The raised embellishment. I'm going to use a small one, I think. Or maybe a big one here, put a big one over there. Because it already looks cool. It's already raised. So you just put the bling on something else. So there you go. That's how you do it. And that's how to make the card. And that's how to emboss the vellum. And that's how to use the blending brush for adding dimension to your butterfly and to the outside of your sentiment. Okay, let's do something with another embossing folder I have. And let me say hi. I have this other embossing folder I haven't taken out yet of the package. And I thought, oh, fun. It's also one of these small ones. It's from the small. Out here, I'm going to take it out while I'm tucking. So see, it's this one. I just got it. I got it because the mini machine, I was like, oh, what kind of embossing folders can I use with the mini machine? So that's why I got this one. It's current. It's in our holiday catalog. I'm sorry, annual catalog. All you guys have available to you as customers right now is the annual catalog, of which everything I'm using is in the annual catalog right now. But I am going to be unboxing holiday catalog. All right, so hello, Yvonne, and hello, Pamela, on her lunch break watching my crafting videos. So cool. Sheila from Ohio. And Bear Claw Flowers. Thank you, Yvonne. I'm glad you like that. Barbara, hello. Barbara said she loves what I'm teaching in the boot camp. Pre. Yep, she was saying, so you know what I'm talking about then. Yeah, Pre, about the storm, I understand. And Joanne from Alabama, hello. And Amy's new to my channel, likes watching videos. Okay, which one do you think I should do, guys? Polka dots? Or just say dots or checks? Checks or dots? We're going to do one more with the vellum. Actually, I might have 2 pieces of vellum, but what do you want me to do first? And hello, Deborah. So it's called checks and dots embossing folder. Okay, dots. Okay, we're going to do dots because that's the first. Barbara said dots. What we're going to do is another color. The reason I'm doing another color, we'll do Flirty Flamingo, is because I don't think I had a lot of ink to do what I was trying to show you earlier. Again, Stampin' upside up. Open it up. We're going to put the ink on this side. And I'm just going to go ahead and try to do it maybe this way. I might use my blending brush, but I might just kind of dip it. But if it's like really light. So and I'm actually just going to go ahead and get another stamping block. I like to control how much ink is on something. It's just my personal preference. So I like to dip in a stamping block instead of letting my brush go right into the ink. Okay, but I'm getting a lot more ink that way. I can tell already this is a juicier stamp. Okay, so we're good. We're good. And it doesn't have to be exact. I'm just sort of tapping it on the dots, and I just need it in the middle. We're going to tap some ink on before we emboss, and we're going to tap some ink on after we emboss. Let's get a lot more ink on here. Let me go ahead and shut this. I'm just going to do it till my ink runs out. Let me shut this one so I don't get it all over me for a moment. Put that over there. And so Flirty Flamingo, I know goes with Pool Party. The reason I know it goes with Pool Party, well, this is my cheat method to figure out which colors go together. You could have a color coach and print out things, but what I do is I look at the Designer Series papers. We have this certain Designer Series paper called Pattern Party Designer Series paper, and in it is Flirty Flamingo and Pool Party. They're in there together, and that's the paper I use for those treats, right? Flirty Flamingo and Pool Party are in those together, so I know they go together in that Pattern Party Designer Series paper. So therefore, this is going to look nice. If I use Flirty Flamingo on this checks and dots embossing folder, it's going to look right when I put it on that Pool Party background because that paper told me it would. Okay, and that should be a lot more dots than this should be the better effect. But if it doesn't come out real good, we're just going to use our blending brush and add more ink later. But I think it's inked up like I want. Get rid of this bag. I'll use the bag for sending someone crafty goodness. All right, let's see which. I have 2 pieces of vellum, but one was the right size. One was a little short for the project, so let's see if that's the one that's the right size. That's the right size. This was the one that's 5 1/4 by, there you go. So that's what we want. 5 1/4 by 2 1/2. Bringing the machine back over, And all we need is love. All right, we're going to put that here, and I need that other here. We need plate number 3. We need one plate number 1. Okay, we need a plate number 1. All right, just so you see what I did. Plate number 1, embossing folder, hinge first. Plate number 3. Plate number 3, that's how you emboss. And, oh, it's going in straight, so you don't want them to go in straight. You want to stagger them. Stagger them a little because it doesn't catch. There we go. It's catching. If it doesn't catch into the, well, we know this from last week. I think I'm beating a dead horse if I talk about that again. But your sandwich, you have to kind of stagger them so it goes in. Just put this machine over there. Okay, much better. At least you can see it, right? So now it got into the other parts. It didn't really get into the raised parts. But that's what now you're just going to, I like it though. It's nice and even coverage, and I like it. And here, let's put it behind one of these cards, because we're going to make another card. So let's put it there. And it does look good together. Oh, and you know what? I didn't realize, hey, that's why you guys are smart. I forgot that there were dots in the back. So that even looks cooler. So there's streaks, but that's okay. That's like even a better effect. And to get all this ink off, because it is, by the way, like water-based ink, you just wash everything. Wash your embossing folders. You could use baby wipes, but I would just wash them in the sink. That's what I do all the time. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. Look at that really cool dot. So we're going to stick that there. Now you can, if you want, put like some adhesive. So you could put like this adhesive behind it, right? And then it would be flat. It doesn't need to have those dimensionals behind it. Then you just got to put your stuff there. So I'm going to put the adhesive, right around there, because that's where that peace, love, and joy is going to go. Right? And then I could put some adhesive over there, and it should be okay, because I can always put a little shape behind it. And it's okay to not have like a lot of adhesive. You just don't want big, if you do big lines of adhesive, it just sort of sticks out is all. But that's not going to be so bad. I'm going to put a butterfly there and the sentiment there. We already have a sentiment, and I was like, let's use those extra butterflies for my sentiment. So we have a peace, love, and joy. Here it goes. And I said this is the really dark one, and I was going to put an extra butterfly there. And I may have to use this is one of my glimmer paper butterflies. Even though that's mango, melon mambo, whatever it's called, not mango. It might look good. There are no rules. I mean, there are color rules, but I'm saying with glimmer it always looks good. But I'm thinking more like the same color I was going to use over there. But something, nope, it does need a smaller. Okay, this one I'm going to use for something else. I think I need a different kind of butterfly there. The reason is it's Flirty Flamingo, but my pale papaya, I mean, it just needs to be pinker, but you get the idea. Okay, so what I would do just to fix this is I'm going to get something more of the color that would match, like maybe a Flirty Flamingo butterfly, cut it out, and then I would use a different color, or like a rainbow, or some kind of rainbow, and a bigger butterfly right there. Okay, maybe like this size. So just so you know, we're not going to finish that card. I was just showing you the technique. I want to keep showing you techniques because that's what the course is about, but I was just trying to play with my embossing folder. And I'll see if I had 3 pieces of vellum when I started. So if I can find it right here, you could just see what the checks look like, but without doing any coloring as far as, we're not going to color it just to save time. But I don't see the vellum. Things just tend to disappear on my table. Oh, here we go. We're going to do it real quick. Not with anything. We're not doing anything, but just putting it right through. Plate number 1. Okay, so we like the dots though, right? Liking the dots. We're going to put plate number 1. We're going to try this folder for the first time. We're going to put the vellum in. Checks and dots. Stick that in there. Shut it. Oh, by the way, this one you might want to make sure it doesn't slip, because this one should be straight along the line of the dots. So this one shouldn't really be crooked. And if it is crooked when it comes out, then you trim it down. But I would probably put this one in like that with the dot, like along one of the lines. That's what I would do. So that it's even Steven. All right, so what do we say? Plate number 1, right? Checks, hinge first, right? Stick that in there. And you can use either hand. These machines crank both ways. Okay, so you don't even have to color the vellum. I'm just showing you how to emboss vellum. That was the technique. If you want to color it too, then that's more power to you. But you don't have to color it. You can just emboss vellum and it's cool. See, here we go. So that's embossed vellum. Oh, I like it. So just embossing vellum alone, you know, gives you techniques, or not techniques, texture to whatever card you're doing. And there's what we just made. Now I want to show you some more things to do with the blending brushes while I have all this stuff out. So happy with how all these came out. Of course, you could color it, whatever. Well, if you want to emboss all your vellum ahead of time, one fun thing to do is emboss your vellum ahead of time, have stacks of embossed vellum, and color it afterwards using your blending brushes based on, you know, whatever project. Oh, I'm going to do that project. This color will match, because that's kind of looks like bricks, and this will be nice for Christmas time, right, or holiday time, because you could then color it maybe some shaded spruce or something to spruce it up, make it look Christmassy. All right, what I want to show you now are these fun things that are in these are in the holiday, annual, not holiday catalog. These are called decorative masks. Decorative masks are a great thing to use with blending brushes. And if you've seen my video recently, I did the mermaid one's missing. I don't know where it's at right now. I guess I just forgot to bring it. But these are called Plenty of Patterns Decorative Mask, and there's a mermaid one in there. And I've used the mermaid one with you on my channel. But I think this one would be nice here to use with a few colors, because we can sort of blend the colors and there'll be lines between them. So I want colors to blend together in the different squares or different triangles, but then I also want them to blend from one part of the project to or one part of the paper to the next. And of course, these are cool too. This goes with the Sweet Symmetry bundle, I think. Here, let's put something behind that. It's going to make you guys dizzy. You guys are going to be dizzy. Here, you need some paper behind it. Here. This to me looks like it goes well with the Sweet Symmetry bundle. It's just because there's all symmetrical flowers. That's not my style, but I'm going to still use it, of course. I'm going to play with it. It would go great with it as a butterfly background. And then this one's going to go great on anything. Now, but for this one, this is more like, you know, that boho indigo style, right? For this one, I would tape it off. And I would do just this. I would just do this as your background. One of these. Like pick any one of them, put it in the background in the middle, and then tape the rest off so you don't accidentally get ink in those sections. That's what I would do. But for this one, you can just go to town and put it wherever you want on your paper. And you can make a card base later, trim it down. So let's do that. Let's put this down on my table. And this is, again, plenty, or what do we call it? Plenty of patterns. Plenty of Patterns Decorative Mask. Okay, and you're just going to lay it down, and we're going to, you know, of course you should tape it. Put a little piece of painter's tape on it. I'm putting a little piece of painter's tape. See what I'm doing? I don't want it to slip on me. And like I said, later on I'll make my card base. So what you want to do is get colors that coordinate. And from me listening to me today, you know that Pool Party coordinates. We know that Flirty Flamingo is going to coordinate with Pool Party. And we know Pale Papaya does, because you've been seeing me use Pale Papaya today for my butterflies. So we know Pale Papaya will work. So we can do some blending with that. Open up the Pale Papaya. And I know that my Granny Apple Green, okay, by the way, this is my Flirty Flamingo Stampin' Black. My Granny Apple Green will work too as a nice way to blend. So we'll blend those four. Granny Apple Green, Pool Party. And I'm actually going to put them in the four corners. So we'll put the green and the blue opposite of each other, and the Pale Papaya, and we'll put the Flirty Flamingo up there. I just got to find it. It was right here. You guys must think I'm a big hot mess. How do I lose things so quickly? All right, Flirty Flamingo. And you can see the names of them if you're confused as to what I'm doing. So now I do happen to have a blending brush for each. Well, let's see. This one goes up there. We're actually going to share the blending brush for the Pool Party with the Granny Apple Green, I think. We'll see. I have this blending brush, but see what's over here. We can use this one for Pale Papaya. Put that one over there, and I'm going to use this one for Flirty Flamingo. So I'll just go ahead and start with Flirty Flamingo. Actually, I would start with the lightest color. I normally start with the lightest color, but Flirty Flamingo already has a stamping block on it. We'll see if we get my own stamping block for Pale Papaya. So what I'm going to do is dip. Again, skip this whole step if you don't care how much ink gets on your blending brush. I like to control what's on my blending brush. So I kind of like to just dip. I'm just going to do this for effect. I'm going to dip onto the paper so you can see what I mean by the big blob that would have happened. See that big blob that would have happened if I didn't sort of do that first? See that blob? If I wouldn't have dipped first and I start blending, then I get a big blob on everything. I'm not worried about getting it on my table because this is an actual like sort of picnic table. And to clean this kind of table, you just use baby wipes. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting pale papaya in this whole sort of bottom corner. That's what I'm doing. Kind of up into the middle. And, oops, a little dirt got in there. Some more pale papaya on my sponge. I'm not doing it exactly. I'm just sort of doing it like, you know, covering one area is what I'm doing, because it's going to overlap with the other. So when I blend, I like to go from light to darker color. So I'm going to go with, next I'm going to do the Flirty Flamingo, because that's the next lightest color. So that's what I'm going to do. So now I'm going to take, I already have a stamping block ready with Flirty Flamingo. And I'm not going to close my pale papaya yet, because I'm not sure. See how that blob? I'm not sure my pale papaya, oops, it's slipping off. That's what that piece of tape is for, to hold it straight. I'm not sure, you know, necessarily if I'm going to need more pale papaya, so I'm not going to put the ink away yet. You might need more later. You're going to decide later if you need more. You have to test it before you lift your mask completely up. You test it. You say, oh, do I need more of any one color? Does it need to blend anymore? And then that's before you untape it. Because once you untape it, it's easy to line this one up on this particular pattern, but for many patterns it's not. I'm not real worried about the center, because you always put something in the center anyway of your card. But this is more of a card background. The center doesn't have to be colored as much. All right, so happy so far. Now I'm going to take the Pool Party, right? Dip, 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 dip in Pool Party ink. Go ahead and get a blending brush. Get some Pool Party. Tap, tap, tap to get that ink off. Now I'm going to kind of go over these areas. Oops, that got a little dark in that corner. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because remember, we're trimming this down. We're going to take the best part of the best. I'm going to go, and we're going to sort of trim it down. I'm trying to go down the middle is what I'm trying to do, and then I'm going to try to do green down here. In other words, the best part of the mask is what we make as the card background. Because we only need for a card background, 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So what you do is you kind of make this really cool background, and then what you do is trim the part out that you want for your card background. And you can put your butterflies over it or whatever you want to put over it. And then you can use the punch to get other things, like to punch out tags and stuff. So now that I got this off, now here's how I'm going to use the green right with it. It's just to show you that you don't really need another color. I had the blue ink on that side. On this side is the blue ink. I'm going to dip the green ink. Let me make sure I'm right. Yeah, there's no green ink. So I'm going to dip the Granny Apple green ink onto the other side of my stamping block, see? But what I want to do, all you got to do to clean a stamping brush, so you don't need a blending brush for every color. They come in a pack of 3. If you get a pack of 3, after they get off back order, see? That's all you do to clean it, is just tap it onto your paper. That's how easy it is to clean a blending brush. And then you can wash it in the sink. But I haven't even washed my ink off mine. I just keep using them. So what I'm doing is getting rid of the blob, putting the blob on there, and I'm just going to start down in the corner. My blob is heavy down in my corner, but I'm going to blend up. What I'm trying to do is blend some of the green with the orange, with the pale papaya. I'm blending some of the green with the blue, and I'm blending some of the green with the pink, because I'm kind of blending the colors together in some of the squares. Tap, tap, tap. And oops, my tape's coming off. So now I'm ready. I'm good. And now I'm going to take I'm going to lift up my mask to test it. And if I like it, then I don't need to add any more ink. And if I don't, and then I can go ahead and shut my inks. But if I don't like it, then I just keep doing it. But let's see. Cool. I do like it. What do you guys think? That's what I wanted. A little dark there, but I'm going to trim that down. Okay. So if I missed a triangle. That's what I mean by not liking it. And you can't go wrong is what I'm saying, but you can miss parts. I didn't miss any parts, so we're good. Now I can close all my inks. I would probably make 5 or 6 of these at once while I have my ink out. And then I would take my paper trimmer. This is important because this is just one of my tricks that I think is important, because if you mess up parts, you can cut them off at this point. If you had already cut your card base to the exact size you wanted it, you can't do anything about it at that point, right? So, I mean, give yourself some leeway. Like, I already know that there's a little smudge on this side, so why don't I just start trimming from that side, right? Because then I can get rid of that smudge. Cut it right off. Stick it right there and cut it right off. So there's my mistake. It's gone. There's the smudge. I mean, it's not something you can notice. And look, this would even make a cool card element. if you're really skimping for paper. But I'm not skimping for paper. We're good. I really like the Flirty Flamingo as a color in general, so I want to keep a lot of that Flirty Flamingo. I don't want to cut that off. I want to keep a lot of that in the picture. If I'm going to cut anything off, I'm going to cut up the darker corner. So I like that pink, so I'm going to go like that. And, oh, I hope I left enough room for the 5 1/4. I should have checked that side. There we go. 5 1/4. Boy, just barely. Just barely. Well, I'm going to have to make it 5, and then in that case, I'll just make I didn't leave enough room. Okay, but you get the idea. It would have normally been 5 1/4 by 4, but in this case, I didn't leave myself much room. So what I did is 5 by, and instead of 4 1/4, I'm going to go ahead and make it 375. Because if you're going to cut it an extra 1/4 inch, wait, 4, hold on, 4 by 5. I must have done 4 1/4. So instead of 4 by 5, okay, let me just see what I'm talking about here, if I know what I'm talking about. So something like this. This is what I was going for. Okay, good. So what I was trying to say is I had already, so I normally just put a 1/4 inch around the sides of my cards. And in this case, I made it a little bigger margin. Let's find one that would be a good color that would match. Here's one that would sort of match. Okay, that's Bermuda Bay. So this little card base, I just made a mistake. I just didn't have enough paper is all. It's not a big deal. So instead of making it 5 1/4 by 4, which would normally be, right, I made it instead, I'll write it down for you. Instead, I made it this, but it doesn't really matter what you make it. This is what you should make it and what I just did make it, just so you know, in case you're. So when you make a card background, this is the normal, don't mind my writing, I'm kind of writing up in the air. Card background. So normally your card background is, this is normally your card background, 5.25 times 4, but then I accidentally didn't leave myself that much room to make it that big. So what I just made it, and it looks fine. So instead, you're going to make it 5 by 3.75. That's if you mess up and you don't have enough. And either way will work as a card background. It's just so you want even space around your A2 card. So there's your A2 card. Of course, whatever color you want to make it. So I hope you enjoyed this, little lesson on how to use the blending brushes and how to emboss your vellum and how to die cut and how to make your butterflies stand out more and all that fun stuff. I want to tell you what you need next, and I also say hi again, what you need for the next part of the series. I'm not sure if it's the very next video, but what you definitely need to go get yourselves. And I'm so glad my mom happened to have some because I haven't been able to get to like a Hobby Lobby or craft store, and that is embroidery hoops, and I just want to show you what size to get and why. Okay, so that's what you're going to need for the next part of this series. Maybe not, so we're already just doing part 6 today, but maybe it might be part 7, it might be part 8, but soon is coming up. All right, so after the votes where you guys voted, looks like everybody voted for dots. Nice big dots. Barbara likes the dots. And beautiful, oh, glimmer paper. Thank you, B. Pre. I forgot to show you about the glimmer paper. Oh, I'm so glad you asked stuff. I actually didn't use the glimmer paper. I mean, I did use the glimmer paper for the butterflies, right, back here. But I forgot to show you something, and I don't mean glimmer, I meant shimmer vellum. But you just sometimes people say things and it reminded me of something else. So Diane, hello. Not a mess, just involved crafter, she says. Hilda, hello, Hilda. And stained glass looking. Yes, this one looks stained glass looking. This embossing photo looks stained glass looking. Okay. Oh, Sheila likes it too. The background. I'm going to put butterflies on here, by the way, for the next video. I'm not sure what my card base will be yet. Maybe Granny Apple Green card base. Because I have a pack of Brights cardstock. And I'm thinking Granny Apple Green would look nice in the background. So I'll do some Brights cardstock. So what I wanted to show you, and I can't believe I forgot. I have out here some shimmer vellum. You said something about glimmer paper. It made me realize that I forgot to show you how cool it looks when you emboss shimmer vellum. Now, some of you may have seen this already in my different series. Or when did I do it? I did it for one of my videos. I'm using what's called the in-color shimmer vellum. So that's what you guys were saying. You like the dots. So this, if you like vellum, you are going to love shimmer vellum. So I have to show you the shimmer vellum. And most of the ink is already off of this folder, so we'll just use this folder because I know it works good with this vellum. And then we can try, since I have 2 pieces of shimmer vellum, we'll go ahead and do another. We'll try some. We might try another folder with the shimmer vellum. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, we might try the checks or something with it. So it says use plate 3 on top and use plate 1 on the bottom. And I love how the mini embossing machine doesn't crack through the vellum. Like, it actually does a good job. Okay, so plate 1, plate 2. There's a little ink on there, but the ink doesn't matter because it's the technique. It's all about techniques. This whole course is all about techniques. So you got a little bit of pale papaya, or you got a little bit of pool party ink on here. So check out the shimmer vellum when you emboss shimmer vellum. So it makes another fun background for your butterfly cards. And because this already has butterflies on it. Yeah, Sheila, that's the story of my life. Sheila's like, I'm going, my battery's going. I'm like, oh, the story of my life. My battery's always going in my videos. Today it's not for some reason. Probably because I charged it. After the power came back on, I made sure I was like, oh, I better charge it while I have power. It's a good time. And you know, we never know how long the power's out for. So what I'm going to try now is I'm going to do the checks. I'm going to do the checks with the shimmer vellum. See how that works out. And again, you might need to use your little piece of tape to get them straight. Or you know, one way to get it straight is just to kind of put it on the edge of the folder. Because the edge of the folder makes your vellum straight. That might work. So your boxes are straight. Again, plate 1 and 3. It really doesn't matter if you put 1 on the bottom or 3 on the bottom. As long as plate 1 and 3 are involved, you can emboss your shimmer vellum. Or you can emboss your vellum. All right, then I'll get into what you need for the next video. So here we go. Pale papaya. Pale papaya. Okay, this was regular cardstock vellum that came in your kit, in your deluxe kit or your regular kit. So the Butterfly Brilliance Bootcamp Kit, if you're in the US, is $49, and you get the supplies for all the projects I'm doing. Not all the projects. You do have to get some of your own supplies, like ink, but you get a lot of supplies. And then if you get the deluxe, it's $99, and you also get, then with the deluxe, you get, and that includes shipping, by the way. So it's a great deal for the deluxe. You get the dies and the stamp set. All right. So what you need for the next video, or one of the next videos, coming up soon, is going to be the embroidery hoops. So here's what I want to show you, is you need embroidery hoops, these things. We're going to decorate them. We're decorating them with the butter. We're going to put butterfly bijou paper inside here. So the only thing you have to know about here, I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to show you a piece of paper here. This is 6 by 6 cut. See how this thing fits like this? So I guess these would be 4-inch diameter. Here, let me check. This is the size I recommend, because the size I recommend, you have to be able to fit these. You have to be able to wrap your 6 by 6 paper around your embroidery hoop, through the embroidery hoop. And we're going to make a piece of home decor. So then we're going to put ribbons to hide that part. We'll put some ribbons, and I gave you ribbons in your kit. And then we're going to also, I mean, we're not going to paint it or anything. You could use your blending brushes to sort of paint this. All I really want to show you, and we're just doing one, is you can put the paper in the background of these. So you can put your butterfly paper in the background. We're going to use the Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper. I'm going to put it in the background. So let's put this on the measuring thing to see how big it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this piece of vellum across like that. And it's up to there's only one checker, so what's that? 5 inches. Okay, well, no, it's 4.75 because it's about up to the 1, or 4.5. Let's see. 4.5. I get asked all the time things, and I'm like, whatever, just do whatever. People are like, I need to know a measurement. Okay, 4.5 diameter for your embroidery hoop. 4.5 inch diameter. Or smaller. It can be smaller. It can be bigger. It can be 5 inches, but it can't be more than 5 inches because we have to wrap our Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper around it. Also, up next is we're still making some more boxes as far as our projects go. We still have to do some 3D boxes, such as the box. I'm going to be decorating the box that I sent you as part of your kit. It's one of our treat boxes. All right. I hope you enjoyed this part of the series. I hope you'll give these vellum techniques a try and blending brush techniques a try, die cutting as well. That's all for now. This is the Paper Chef. Thank you guys for joining me today.